Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. On September 5th, 2016, it was front page breaking news in mainstream outlets that Phyllis Schlafly had died at age 92. And I imagine that almost everyone who saw this headline assumed that this was a woman who lived a long life and passed away from old age. What I'm going to show you in this video is that her death was not natural. It was a ritual sacrifice for the upcoming presidential election. There have been many up to this point. I think Phyllis Schlafly is the oldest person thus far to be ritually sacrificed for the upcoming election. And if you're listening and already doubting, please stay tuned because I'm going to show you definitively that this woman was killed for the election. If you're not familiar with her, let's watch the CNN clip on who she was, what she's remembered for. Notice she died in St. Louis. An anti-feminist with the initials PMS, which we'll get to.
I would like to thank my husband Fred for letting me come today. I love to say that because it irritates the women's livers more than anything that I say.
She said, "You've got a good deal, women. You are an exalted member of the human race. You are held to a higher standard. You're put on a pedestal. You're protected by men. You're provided for by men. Why would you want to get married?"
Notice it was
The
Washington.
Women's Studies Department. It was 25 years ago that we defeated the Equal Rights Amendment, and they're still whining about it. And I think they should get a life and move on.
I was saying, notice that she got her honorary degree from Washington University in St. Louis. We'll talk about that. So let's get into this. Phyllis Schlafly, dead on September 5th. And right away, what stood out about this is her name, Phyllis Schlafly, sums to 187. As it mentioned in the article, as it just mentioned in the video, she was a supporter of Donald Trump. She had recently spoken out on why people should vote for Donald Trump. This number 187 has been very much attached to Donald Trump throughout his campaign. He recently had his GOP convention in Cleveland, which began on July 18th, a date written 18/7 in most parts of the world. That date was exactly 187 days before Inauguration Day, January 20th, 2017. In the history of this nation, the first recognized president is 33rd degree Master Mason George Washington. George Washington in Gematria equals 187. This is a number that's often connected to homicide and murder. George Washington was a 33rd degree Master Mason. He died at age 67. Freemasonry equals 67. Blood sacrifice equals 67. Of course, his name was Washington. We're talking about a woman that got an honorary degree at Washington University. I'll just read this here from CNN. Phyllis Schlafly, a prominent anti-feminist and early leader of the social conservative movement, died Monday at the age of 92 at her home in St. Louis. Schlafly, an outspoken voice against the liberalism of the 1960s and 70s, was a towering figure and what emerged as the modern religious right. Her death was confirmed by the Eagle Forum, the Missouri-based advocacy organization she led. And let's just stop right there. This is what bothers me so much about mainstream Christianity and conservatism in this nation. What she opposed in the 60s was the people who were speaking out against the war. Somehow in this nation, Christianity is the religion of war. And that really shouldn't come as any surprise because this nation was created out of a genocide that was legitimized by saying the people they were killing were godless heathens without Bibles. You read the Bible, there's a lot of war in it. But just think about it. I mean, Jesus is the central figure of the Bible. Was Jesus about war? I guess he said he came to bring the sword. Maybe he was. Anyhow, moving on. Her focus from the earliest days until her final ones was protecting the family, which she understood as the building block of life. She recognized America as the greatest political embodiment of those values. The statement read, from military superiority, and defense to immigration and trade, that means keeping illegal immigrants out of the country, mostly Mexicans. You think Jesus would shun people? From unborn life to the nuclear family and parenthood, the Christian conservatives, they're so against abortion, but they're not about doing anything for the young lives in this nation that are suffering from poverty and all that comes with it. The woman about 10 years ago that was the face of the social conservatism, she said that the only gift you need in this life is to be born, and then God takes care of you from there. Well, she's probably never been in some of the worst neighborhoods in the United States of America. Anyhow, Phyllis Schlafly was a courageous and articulate voice for common sense and traditional values, like believing in Jesus and believing in legitimized murder through war. Schlafly was most well known for her work fighting the Equal Rights Amendment in the 1970s, emerging as one of the leading female critics of the feminist movement. And, it's fitting that she's supporting Donald Trump because Donald Trump has made all this nasty rhetoric about women in the year that he's been crammed down our throats through the TV. So she was a member of the Eagle Forum. They said the Eagle Forum was recently trying to push her out. I just want to point out that Eagle Forum has Gematria 49, like Washington. 49 is the number of Revelation, the book of prophecy, which this nation was established from. That's why the original capital is Philadelphia, a name that comes from Revelation in the Bible. Again, Revelation equals 49, just like Washington. Schlafly, until her death, remained in the political arena and recently made the case for electing Donald Trump president. On Monday night, the Republican nominee eulogized Schlafly in a statement. Phyllis Schlafly is a conservative icon who led millions to action, reshaped the conservative movement, and fearlessly battled globalism and the kingmakers on behalf of the American workers and family. Trump said, I was honored to spend time with her during this campaign as she waged one more great battle for national sovereignty. So all I read there was a lot of hot air. In her final days, Schlafly caused consternation among some conservatives by backing Trump. She endorsed the billionaire at a rally in her home city of St. Louis, Missouri in March, despite the fact many of her fellow travelers in the movement don't see the Republican candidate as a true ideological conservative, likening him to Ronald Reagan. I can remember 1980 when a lot of us didn't think Reagan was an authentic conservative, Schlafly told CNN in an interview in May. Reagan turned out to be best president of the century, she said. Let me remind you the name Ronald Reagan equals 110, so does the word president. He's someone that was an actor and then the 33rd governor of California before becoming president. 69 days after becoming president, he participated in the staged shooting hoax John Hinckley recently released from his mental institution. Reagan was one of the worst presidents this nation ever had. All he did was grow debt and shift wealth from middle class to the very richest. The country has been on a continual decline in a very steep way ever since the Ronald Reagan presidency. And what's so sad is so many Americans who are poor, who are broke, who are ignorant, they're so, what's the word? They're so in love with Ronald Reagan. So many people think Ronald Reagan's the greatest president when all he did was shift wealth to the richest, create more debt, create a war on drugs that's built the prison industrial complex. How can people say we live in a nation where you're free when you're not even free to use substances that just, alter your mind a little bit? We've been taught to think that's so evil, that's so wrong. That's because we're not free. The reason they don't want people using substances that alter their consciousness, their state of thinking, is because when that happens, a lot of times it frees them from the lies of this world. They see through them instantly. Great comedian Bill Hicks had a lot of commentary on the power of hallucinogenic drugs. Hallucinogenic drugs, when used correctly, are some of the most empowering things in this world, and a lot of them come right from the earth, like us. In a statement Monday night, Reagan biographer Craig Shirley called Schlafly the First Lady of the American conservative movement. Her legacy helped conservatives understand they had a choice and were not simply an echo. Shirley said she battled, she won, she confounded the radical left-wing feminists time and again. Frankly, she was smarter and tougher than the liberals she fought and conquered so joyously. The defeat of the so-called Equal Rights Amendment stands as but one of many monuments to her legacy. Funeral arrangements are still being finalized according to the Eagle Forum. So what the article left out is how she was ritually murdered, which is what we're going to get to right now. Notice in 1980, when she was getting all of her attention for campaigning for Reagan, she was 56 years old at the time. The word president has gematria 46, 50, 47, 56, and 110. She was 56 then, stumping for the president-to-be. Her date of birth, August 15th, 1924, born in St. Louis, Missouri, dead in St. Louis, Missouri. Date of birth had 66 numerology. The word woman equals 66, a symbolic woman, an anti-feminist, with the PMS initials, which I can't get over. Her date of birth also had a life lesson number of 39, number of books in the Old Testament. It's also a number connected to New York. This election right now, Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, two very New York figures. The name Clinton comes from the original governor of New York, George Clinton, who was the fourth vice president. She was also born on a date with 30 numerology, a number connected to Saturn. 57 connected to Scottish Rite, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. The date she died, September 5th, 2016, a date with 50 numerology. America equals 50, so does Donald. Donald equals 50, America equals 50. Donald equals 23 the small way. She died on a date with 23 numerology as well. Recently, after stumping for Donald Trump, after nearly being kicked out of the Eagle Forum for advocating for Donald Trump. She also died on a date with 30 numerology, connected to her birth numerology, a number connected to Saturn, the keeper of time. As for dying on September 5th, 5/9, the word kill in Jewish gematria equals 59. She died 21 days after her birthday, one of the three numbers of Saturn. Saturn 21, woman the small way 21, the big way woman 66. Think about how Donald Trump running against a woman, the first female to be the nominee for one of the two major parties. Her name, Phyllis, has gematria of 38 like death, also 47 like president. Hillary Clinton, born October 26th, 1947. Her middle name, McAlpin, gematria of 32. And Schlafly, gematria of 32 as well, also like America. 7/4/1776, a date with 32 numerology. Her full name in gematria sums to 102 and also 111. 102, 111. 102 is a special number to this nation. United States of America equals 102. 111 is a special number to New York. New York, the big way is 111, the small way 39. Her birth numerology, her name gematria, connecting to New York. Again, a very New York-centered election. With regards to Hillary Clinton and 102, I just want to show you this. Hillary announced her campaign on April 12th, 2015. That's the 102nd day of the year. Shortly after her campaign began, and by the way, 102, a very relevant number to a lot of propaganda and lies in this nation, including September 11th. With regards to 111, Hillary's husband, William Jefferson Clinton, not his birth name, gematria of 111, just like New York. But look at this story that came out for Hillary. Caucusing for Clinton at 102 years old. The reason the media mocks us this way is because they know the people have no idea what's behind these numbers. And for the majority of my life, I had no idea either. I discovered this knowledge at age 30. I've been sharing it ever since because it reveals more truth than anything else I'm aware of. And, you know, that comment coming from me, it really does have worth because I don't know anyone in this world from September 11th, 2001 to the present who's put more time into researching truth and what's really going on in this world. When I found this gematria, I knew I found something very important that sheds a lot of light. This story also came out on February 2nd, the 33rd day of the year. Clinton 33, Federal 33, Order 33, Masonry 33, Secrecy 33. It is the Freemasons and Zionists who are doing this, creating news by the numbers, killing people by the numbers. They've been doing this for centuries. So Alex Jones, the day after the death, had a big thing for her, talked a lot about her, talked about how he was crying because he recently had her on the show. What I noticed is on April 12th of this year, April 12th, the 102nd day, he also had a feature article about her. Phyllis Schlafly faces coup over Trump endorsement. Her name in simple English gematria, what stands out the most is the last name, the gematria of 86. Let me show you what's up with this name in light of her husband as well, who was Fred. Her husband was Fred with the same last name. Show you this real quick here about her husband, Fred. These people, they are all agents. There's a reason they get to be on the TV. It's because they're in the game. Her husband's name in gematria sums to 119. Very special number to the Zionists and the Masons. All-seeing eye 119, Star of David, the symbol that's been on our currency for over a century, that's now on the flag of Israel. The reason that's so is because this nation, the United States of America, has always been a Jewish, Zionist, Masonic nation. It's all about agenda. It's all about prophecy. It was all about bringing Israel into existence. The phrase master plan also has gematria of 119, and that's what we're living out. Her husband, Fred, that's a 33 name, the number of Freemason obsession. Should look into her husband's death, if he's even passed. I'm sure he has. So again, anti-feminist, PMS initials. You know, this entire lady, her identity might have been created whenever she joined the network. Perhaps when she married her husband. So many of these Masonic men marry these women by the numbers. Be interesting to go back and see the date of her wedding to Fred. I'm sure it's all there, because it always is. Not kidding when I say these people do everything by the numbers. That's why learning this code is one of the most valuable things you can do, because you'll see through what's going on in record time. Where she died, St. Louis, Missouri, has the gematria of 67, like blood sacrifice, again, like Freemasonry, like George Washington, who passed at age 67, who's buried in a location with 49 gematria. From the date of her death until the date of the upcoming election, November 8th, by the way, November 8th, 11/8, the word death in Jewish gematria equals 118. Lincoln was assassinated after being reelected on that date by an actor in a theater by the numbers. Anyway, 64, a special number. American equals 64. This is an American symbol, this woman. Israel equals 64. Zion 64. Thelema 64. Thelema is the occult religion invented by the Freemason Aleister Crowley. It's about do what thou wilt. It has a lot to do with the way the Zionists and Freemasons operate in this world. Notice the phrase synagogue of Satan, the small way equals 64. In Revelation, it says the synagogue of Satan will rule. That is Israel, the Zionist state, the false Jew state. Do what thou wilt is the saying in Thelema. It also has the gematria of 64. All these things interrelated. Here's a ritual sacrifice by the numbers. Talk about do what thou wilt. From September 5th to Inauguration Day is 137 days. Look at this. Authority equals 137. Washington, D.C. equals 137. American Meridian equals 137. 137 is the 33rd prime number. Clinton 33, a woman. Order 33, Federal 33, Masonry 33, Secrecy 33. It's not a coincidence. This is the definitive proof that this woman did not die naturally. She's another murder by numbers. And if you want to expand on this video, in your YouTube search, type The Police, Murder by Numbers. It's a song from 1983. It's all about killing by the numbers. The chorus, ABC, 1, 2, 3. It's almost like the Jackson 5 song, but a lot more twisted. All right, Truth Seeker. Think we covered it all? Until next time.